thrifting ain't easy, unless you're watching me.
Voices in my head, they counsel me, they understand, they talk to me.
Welcome back. You're watching the thrift store rundown where we bring Hollywood home on a budget. Today we're talking about why voices can be your friends. Voices that can add some clarity and levity to your day. And also why voices can sometimes be your frenemies. Or even your enemies. The voices that can make you feel like a green-eyed vixen on the inside. Like if we have a dark voice, for example, that harbors an equally dark secret. Say, for instance, a seething disdain of the status quo. And the only way that it can be released is through music. Well, I happen to know of a certain Oscar and Grammy-winning expert on the subject. This is kind of a misleading cover, because this is just a for your consideration ad for Amazon Prime's The Report. Really the Torture Report, but of course, they had to retract torture. This is the real cover of the December 4, 2019 Variety magazine Hitmakers Issue, Like a Boss. Teen music sensation Billie Eilish reigns supreme as the streaming generation's singular voice. That would be Jem Aswad's main article here for the Hitmaker of the Year, Billie Eilish Pirate Bear O'Connell, aka Billie Eilish. She's just one amidst a medley of hitmakers, songwriters, producers, even managers and agents. And we'll get to that when we get to the main entree of this issue, which I picked up for half off $3.99 from Unique Thrift Store in Patterson. Really, that is the main entree amidst a multi-course meal for the sense of sound. But first we begin with a feast for all five senses and a few more you haven't heard of. This is the 2019 Year in Review, counting down the best albums, songs, biggest scandals, blunders, and apologies, the best and worst films and TV shows, the best red carpet looks, and the best and worst moments when the media became a part of the story, instead of just covering it. Here in the Exposer, we have the American Music Awards, the Princess Grace Awards Gala, and the premiere parties for Booksmart, Olivia Wilde's directorial debut, and Hustlers, with J-Lo and Lily Reinhart, among others. Since this theme is all about voices being our friends, and frenemies and enemies, I want to pay particular attention to the American Music Awards at the Microsoft Theater in LA, November 24th. With a veteran like Shania Twain, and modern-day workhorses like Lizzo, Lil Nas X, Post Malone, Clara, Shawn Mendes and Camila Cabello, aka Shawn Mila. You'll see them a little bit later. Halsey, Selena Gomez looking extra fine than usual. Oh yeah, and Taylor Swift. You'll see her a little bit later in here too. Moving on to the next piece, which is actually the main piece. God Save the Teen. From streams to streams, Variety's Hitmaker of the Year, Billie Eilish is spinning a web of goth gold into her own mini empire. I said this before when I did her Variety Fair cover article, that Billie Eilish really was a master student of the Macabre arts. Nowadays, she's a student teacher. Who would have thought that her SoundCloud song, Ocean Eyes, would blow up like wildfire to the point where she would become the voice of conscience for those harboring deep, dark secrets. In fact, her debut album, When We All Fall Asleep, Where Do We Go, it's pretty much public record that cleaned house at the Grammys, putting everybody on notice that Billie Eilish and her brother, Phineas O'Connell, her producer, were more than ready to shake up that status quo and maybe even destroy it. The article talks about that, her performance at the Austin City Limits Festival while injured, and how she manages to balance her newfound fame and notoriety with just wanting to be a normal teen at the time. Oh yeah, there's also some love for the mighty Phineas O'Connell. Both of them now 2-time Academy Award winners. One for the eponymous theme from No Time to Die, the 25th James Bond film, and the final one with Daniel Craig. And another one for What Was I Made For? From Barbie! But for them, Barbie would have suffered a complete and utter knockout at the Oscars. In that context, they were the film's saving grace. Not that I've seen the movie, but I heard a little bit of What Was I Made For. Hello was given a bit of an orchestral arrangement by the film's composers and chief music producers Mark Ronson and Andrew Wyatt, but hey, I digress. Again, in this article, it's all about Billie, with of course an appropriate amount of love for her older bro, Phineas. I'm not the biggest Billie Eilish buff out there, but I do admire her unique brand of sonic storytelling. And of course, she's just the tip of the iceberg in here. We're talking again about a medley of hitmakers in front of the microphone and behind the microphone, and of course, the suits in the office, powering all the voices. The most outstanding hitmakers in here are featured in full-page articles, or half-page articles here, with an expanded photograph and summary about their career, like Ryan Tedder and BTS and Megan Thee Stallion. And it's not just individuals. It's also labels like Republic Records. You know, they manage Ariana Grande and distribute her, among others. We also have here, Shawn Miller. For your Grammy consideration, Senorita for Best Pop, Duo/Group Performance, which I believe it was nominated for, but failed to win. We'll sum it up like this. I'd hate to say it, but there is something about them that is rather sexy as individuals and paired up. Oh, and another unsurprising Hitmaker of the Year, well, at least in my view, and the view of non-Swifties like myself and Swifties alike, well, we just gave it away. That would be Taylor Swift. And Ariana Grande in here too. For your Grammy consideration, both of them actually coming in that particular format. Ariana Grande, Album of the Year, Record of the Year. And Taylor Swift and Post Malone in the same place. Right there. I lost my bookmarks. I wanted to take you immediately to them, but you know what? I can always appreciate a good page flip. What about you? I mean, this is a fully loaded issue of Variety. And apparently you can't have a Hitmaker issue in this day and age without Taylor Swift. So much so that on July 13th, TSR will do its very first and quite possibly last Taylor Swift week. I call it Swift Justice for lack of a better term. But whatever you call it, I hope you'll call it a great week of content, because that's always the goal. July 13th, mark your calendar. Going beyond music, we have here Variety's predictions for the Screen Actors Guild Award nominations. We have here a streaming impact report and an article about the Calypso captain, Vin DeBona, and his captains of the ship on camera. Yes, it's the trifecta of America's funniest home videos. Tom Bergeron, Alfonso Ribeiro, and the late great Bob Saget. This is in celebration of AFE's 30th anniversary on the air. Thank you, America, for showing us who you really are. It also promotes AFE America, This Is You, a retrospective of their 30 years for ABC, who congratulates Vin DeBona and thanks the AFE team for 30 years of laughs. This is one of the premier family-friendly shows on television that still thrives because it really was the precursor to YouTube. It really was YouTube before YouTube, and now one supports the other, adds current show host Ribeiro. All three of them are great. Of course, Bob Saget was the pioneer. Tom Bergeron, well, he was the guy I grew up on, and Alfonso Ribeiro, also mighty cool. Again, this is a fully loaded issue, and there are plenty of for your consideration advertisements in here for Screen Actors Guild nominees. In addition to the Torture Report, we also have a joint for a consideration piece for Netflix originals like Glow and Stranger Things. We also have here Barry and Big Little Lies for HBO FYC, Hustlers, Marriage Story for Netflix, Queen and Swim for Universal, The Boys for Amazon Prime. I can go on, but you know what? This video is finished. I'll just turn the cover here so we highlight the real star in here. I actually kind of have a wee bit of a crush on Billie, I'll admit it. Then again, I'll admit having a crush on Taylor Swift, and Camila Cabello, and Shawn Mendes. 98.5% of me is straight, folks, so let's just get that out of the way. If I had time to crush on all of them majorly, I wouldn't have time to be objective in my reviews. But this is just too far good to be that objective. So it gets all 5 claps. Given her body of work, I don't know if it's hyperbole or not to call Billie Eilish the Randy Orton of singer-songwriters. But few can deny that she definitely is a legend killer. Thanks for tuning in. Just so you know, there's no limit to bringing Hollywood home on a budget. Please go ahead and check out another awesome review like this one by clicking here, and make sure you subscribe by clicking here. Until next time, I'll catch you, as I always do, on the flip side.